Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Bishop Malzer calls on the electorate to familiarize themselves with the election code before the upcoming general elections. Prime Minister Skerrit reassures Dominican students at Kville government is committed to funding their education, and the diaspora told they will not be denied their right to vote. The details coming up.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Dominicans being challenged to take a conscientious look at the election code issued by the Dominica Christian Council as the next general election approaches. Andrea Louis reports.
This message from Bishop of Roseau, His Lordship Gabriel Malzer, during his independence message to the nation. Bishop Malzer reminded Dominicans that the independence season is one which calls for reflection upon accomplishments of the country over its 41 years of political independence.
Every year we gather as a nation around this historic occasion to celebrate achievements and to recommit ourselves to nation building with the tacit intention to avoid the errors of the past. In that regard, therefore, every independence celebration is at one and the same time a moment of festivity and reflection. This year, 2019, is of particular significance. That is, we are on the eve of another very important event in the life of our people. I am referring to the upcoming general elections, in which every eligible Dominican voter is afforded the opportunity and the privilege of having a say in the governance of this beloved country.
Malzer called on all citizens to become familiar with the election code, which outlines ways in which different groups in society should conduct themselves as the election season intensifies.
I wish to invite every patriotic national to take some time to ponder deeply on the future of our country as it prepares to engage in this sacred act. Therefore, I challenge all citizens, government, parliamentary opposition, the religious community, the media association, and the entire civil society to take a conscientious look at the election code issued by the Dominica Christian Council and which has served throughout the years of independence to guide the conduct of the various persons and groups during the pre-election period.
It is the expectation that all groups highlighted in the election code meet to sign on to the document.
It is my hope that in the days to come, the representatives of the various groups, the Dominica Labour Party, the United Workers' Party, the Freedom Party, the Dominica Christian Council, the Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches, and the Media Association will meet to affix their signatures on the document as a sign of their commitment to work for justice, love, and peace in this great country, thus continuing the trajectory of hope for the future that we all deserve.
Dominica will celebrate its 41st anniversary of independence on Sunday, 3rd November. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And Dominican students studying in Barbados have been given the opportunity to have some of their questions answered by Prime Minister Skerrit. The Prime Minister and his cabinet colleagues met with the Dominican students to update them on the post-Maria recovery efforts in Dominica. One student wanted to know what was holding back the issuance of voter ID cards.
I visited Dominica in May, and I went to the Social Security office to get my ID done. Now, I am a Barbadian citizen, and my ID is more or less laminated. You know, not to knock my Barbados government, but our ID in Dominica is very nice. It is on par with the US ID. My question is, what is hindering us from giving people voter ID cards? If I could get my ID card at Dominica Social Security in 10 minutes, and very nicely done, what has stopped us from issuing these voter ID cards? Thank you.
We are promoting a national ID card instead of a voter ID card. I will say to you, my friend, that in 2016, after we were devastated by Tropical Storm Erica, where I had to relocate 2 communities because of the disaster, I still went ahead and gave the Electoral Commission over $6 million to acquire the technology to allow it to be in a position to issue the national ID, the voter ID, national ID card, sorry. We provided the Electoral Commission with the staff it requested, and all of the other supporting resources it requested of the government. As a matter of fact, when they sent the request to me through the President, I even said to them that their request was too low, because I needed to ensure that they had all of the resources to effectively implement the issuance of the national ID card for the purposes of voting. Because at the time, they had a chief elections officer who came from the audit department, so he looked at things purely from an auditing, accounting standpoint. And so he was trying to be frugal. And I provided the commission with more resources than they had requested of the executive or the government. You know, like me, there are 3 branches of government. There's the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And as far as the executive, which is the cabinet, is concerned, we had done all what we needed to do, including the preparation of the legislation, the amendments to the Electors Act, to give the Electoral Commission the legal authority. Because as it stands now, the Electoral Commission does not have the legislative authority to issue national ID cards. And so we sought to go to Parliament on 2 separate occasions. The first time we went to Parliament, there was a mob outside of the Parliament. And to the point where they were prepared to storm the Parliament. And I, who is always a maker of peace and a promoter of peace, I decided to withdraw the bills on the other paper and to allow for there to be further consultation with stakeholders across the country. We wrote to the opposition in Dominica, for example, and we said to them, look, these are the amendments. Tell us which of these clauses you do not agree with and which you agree with, so that we can have a discussion, a sensible discussion in the matter. They are yet to submit to us that which they do not agree with and that which they agree with. We sought to go back to the Parliament a second time because we removed 1 or 2 clauses in the amendments. and the same thing happened. You know, there are some people in politics who sometimes when they're in opposition, they say what they want. They agitate on things, but sometimes they don't want it, you know. They say they want it. When you try to give it to them, they don't want it. So the only people who have been the stumbling block in the issuance of national ID cards in Dominica for the purposes of voting is the opposition.
One individual from Grand Fort challenged government to place the same level of attention it places on housing on agriculture.
I would ask you to really check the source of your information where agriculture is concerned about Dominica. Because I can tell you, my dear, agriculture is alive and well in Dominica. I mean, and the country that was impacted by the hurricane where 90% of your crops were completely destroyed and so on, we are exporting tremendous sums of agricultural produce throughout the Caribbean, especially north of Dominica. Tremendous sums of agriculture. I can tell you, I am a farmer myself, and I grow a lot of things. Back in the days, you talk about the 80s and 90s when Banner was king, but as a monocrop economy. A monocrop economy, and we never sought to diversify the economy back when Banner was king. We have now a very diversified agricultural program in Dominica. And there's also this misinformation about youth not involved in agriculture. I can tell you I go across Dominica to many farms across Dominica in every village and every county in Dominica. And there are hundreds of young people, including women. If you go to a place called Daly's, you have the Toloma farmers, all women. You go to a place called Mount Prosper on the Robinson Estate, you have women who are vegetable farmers. 90% of them, of the farmers there in Mount Prosper, are women. Across the land from Bedford, Dominica, there are a lot of young people. And what is strikingly exciting now in this new era is that I have seen a lot of young professionals getting involved in agriculture. So people are now using agriculture as a second source of revenue. In my own little humble way as a subsistence farmer, I make a good little money in agriculture every year. And agriculture has money, my friend. And so what we need in Dominica, I believe, is that those who are trained in agriculture and so forth, we have to translate this theory into practice. And we need to start growing food. And not only treat the green agriculture as a textbook thing, but to grow food. But agriculture is going up, and we have a plan to build more resilience in agriculture that is supported by both our local resources and a considerable amount of funds, some $67 million from the World Bank, that is invested directly in agriculture to build greater capacity, to grow more resilient crops, to use more technology on the farms. And also we have a separate agreement with the government of China, the Agricultural Technical Mission, where under this agreement it provides a whole array of support, farm support to farmers.
Another individual asked about the minimum wage and the provision of more sustainable jobs as opposed to what's provided under the NEP.
The issue of the increase in minimum wage, there is no employer in Dominica, my friend, none, who pays this minimum wage as prescribed there in law. Nobody pays that. Nobody pays that whatsoever. In the government system, anybody who works for 40 hours a week, you get no less than $1,000 a month. Nobody gets paid this minimum wage in Dominica. That is, sometimes people use these things to play in the minds of people and say, well, we should have minimum wage increase. So what we have done, and just mark you, we did when was it back when we made the amendments? 2008 or 2010? The last time we made some changes to the minimum wage in 2008. But the time before that was in the 80s. And in Dominica, as compared to other countries, we have categories. Some countries, they have a flat rate across the board. But we have categories. And so what we have done, as announced in the Parliament, is that, and required by law, we have appointed the a committee that is mandated by law to review the minimum wage. So they are now deliberating, they are consulting stakeholders, and we await their recommendations to determine at what levels you should peg the new minimum wage, if at all, what increases you should provide to them and so on. So we're certainly looking at the minimum wage.
On the issue of creating more sustainable jobs, the Prime Minister pointed to investments in infrastructure, tourism and renewable energy.
We are seeking to have investments, because you talk about infrastructure. Infrastructure is important. The Chinese tell you the road to development are roads. So you have to have the infrastructure to sustain economic activity. And this is why we have invested heavily on infrastructure, because if people cannot get to you, or you cannot get from one community to the other, your businesses cannot get to the markets, how are you going to create jobs? So we've had to invest heavily on the infrastructure. And those of us who knew where Dominica was when this government came into office in 2000, you recognize that you had to spend serious monies on improving the infrastructure of Dominica. And we have been focusing heavily on expanding the tourism and the hospitality industry by constructing hotels, using our own policy initiatives, financing this hotel construction, utilizing the Citizens by Investment Program, and so to create more sustainable jobs. In agriculture, we are investing heavily in agriculture. And not only the archaic type of agriculture, the traditional type of agriculture, but modern agriculture utilizing technology on the farms. Geothermal and moving to a more green economy is an opportunity for us to create sustainable jobs in the economy.
Young people here have been warned not to downplay their importance to nation building. Miss Dominica 2019 Marisol John was addressing the National Youth Rally on Friday when she enlightened the young people that they have an important role to play in the development of the country.
We must first recognize our purpose in our Dominican and regional community. We must never downplay our potential and contribution to our society for the sake of others. Toxicity in a pool of positive people and ideas will spread just as poison will flow in water. It is up to us to choose the source that we drink from. There will always be negative clouds lurking to dampen our spirits, but we should never let these trickles of pessimism influence us.
Ms. John went on to advise the school children or students that it is their responsibility to take up leadership roles in society.
We have a huge responsibility to take up leadership roles in our society, to craft Dominica and the region into the ideal place we would like to live. You, my young people, must make your voices and ideas be known. And like a river, choose your path well. Choose your ideas well. After all, you are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but you are the leaders of today. And your voices, your ideas must be projected if we are going to attain resilience.
Families and the wider society were called upon to play their part in impacting youth positively into realizing their potential.
It is my hope to see every single Dominican and Caribbean youth making great strides in all sectors of society as they discover their talents and passions. It is my hope to see our Dominican youth changing the norm that we have become so comfortable with. It is my hope to see Dominican youth off the streets and into the gardens and offices. It is my hope to see Dominican youth praise God boldly without fear of judgment. It is my hope to see Dominican youth becoming a force to be reckoned with locally, regionally, and internationally on every single front.
And Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Reginald Austrie, has thanked returning Dominicans for their contribution that they've made to the development of the country. Mr. Austrie told an audience at Jungle Bay on Thursday government takes their support for the country very seriously and they will not be disenfranchised.
I would like to thank you, the diaspora, to thank you for the contribution that you've made both in the relief and the development stages. Not only after Maria, but for your entire life overseas, you have been a very positive influence on the social and economic development of our country. We recognize your efforts, and as a result, this government has agreed that you will always have a place in the development of our country. And we will seek to defend your right to participate in the development of your country, no matter what it costs us, no matter what it takes. And I speak of your right to determine what government you want to lead your country. I speak of your rights to vote at the next general elections. And you who have been following the debate and the discussions will agree that there have been some serious efforts made at preventing you from exercising that right.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Dominican students studying at the UWI Caville campus in Barbados have been reassured of government's commitment to funding their education and doing so in a timely manner. Prime Minister Skerrit addressed students and other Barbadian nationals at a town hall meeting on Thursday.
Every child in Dominica the choice, if they so desire, of attending college at home and university in any of the 4 corners of the planet Earth. To the students studying here at Caville, I salute you this evening. I acknowledge that there are a few chinks in the system from time to time. Even though we may institute policies and set forth guidelines, it happens far too often for my liking, where simple things like subventions and subsistence reach students way too late. As policymakers, we have no way of knowing this unless and until someone highlights it. But I wish to assure you this evening that your education in Barbados is catered for by the government of Dominica. We budget the funds, we source the funds, we authorize the funds, and there is no excuse for funds not reaching you on time and in time.
On the matter of the international airport, the Prime Minister said construction will begin next year.
And you know, my dear brothers and sisters, that door has opened. And we now have confirmation of the complete financing of the international airport for Dominica. This week I received a special envoy from a friendly nation who came to transmit that message to me from the leadership of that country. And when a country of that magnitude gives you its commitment, that is money that is even more valuable in any bank anywhere in the world. And so I look forward to the commencement of the construction of the international airport in the year 2020, the year of our Lord. And we give God thanks and praise for that.
Dominica's Lady of Song Ophelia Marie has commended the country on its resilience over the years. Her remarks come ahead of Dominica's 41st anniversary of independence on Sunday. Marie, who is celebrating 40 years in the music business, says resilience has extended through her career as well.
We're talking resilience. Each one of us has a role to play in resilience. You know, the fact that you are here talking with me, you can see I'm a femme de bout, I'm not going nowhere. I'm a resilient, and it was a politician who called me that, and I stopped and I say, hey, but that must be true, eh? 40 years, I mean, you fall, you get up, you fall again, you get up again. That is resilience. And then you still have a positive message. People still like to talk to you. You can still put on pretty clothes and come out. I mean, that is so much. But you see, it's also, from my part, understanding and appreciating the little things of life.
Marie would like to see Dominicans use the opportunity of the country's independence anniversary to help inform people's perspective on Dominica.
We have to broaden our scope. We have to recognize that our perspective in understanding the world comes from where we were born or where raised us and formed us, you know? But we mustn't just leave it in a little corner. We are not just Dominicans, we are Caribbean people. We are world people. Those of us who are women of the world. So we have to understand what that means and help people get to what our perspective is.
Dominica's 41st anniversary of independence is being celebrated under the theme Saluting Resilience and Rejuvenation 2 years on. And schools across the country have raised over $20,000 for the Bahamas.
The education sector embarked on a dress-down day in October, where children paid a fee to attend school in casual wear. This was among Dominica's continued efforts to raise money for the Bahamas, which was battered by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian in September. Minister for Education Peter Seja, who was speaking at Friday's National Youth Rally, commended the children and the parents for their contribution towards the Bahamas relief effort.
I must place on record the tremendous contribution made by all our schools in Dominica towards the Bahamian Relief Funds. Our Dress Down Day activity held just a few weeks ago was indeed tremendous, and we wish to thank our schools, the entire student population, as well as parents, for raising well over $20,000 to the Bahama Relief Fund through this initiative.
The Education Minister also took the opportunity to highlight continued efforts towards increasing the number of university graduates in the country by disclosing that over 600 students had left for further studies this year.
At the tertiary level, we have taken bold steps to create a generation of citizens empowered to build successful lives for themselves and their families, and to make valuable contributions to their country's development. As of September 13, 2019, 655 young Dominicans received approvals from the government of Dominica to pursue studies in various fields, amounting to well over 18 million EC dollars.
Among activities at Friday's Youth Rally was the awarding of various prizes to students for their outstanding performance in academics and sports.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Bishop Malzé calls on the electorate to familiarize themselves with the election code before the next general election. Prime Minister Skerrit reassures Dominican students at Kville government is committed to funding their education, and the diaspora told they will not be denied their right to vote. Feel free to contact us at news@mapin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your independence, and remember the National Day of Community Service.